Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. Listen, I've had this channel going for about a year and a half now, and one of the most frequent questions that I get asked, both in person or online, is when are you going to make a brisket? Traditionally here on the channel, I've tried to do some things that are a little bit unorthodox or not your normal things that you would typically see on a channel like this, but we wouldn't be a barbecue channel without a brisket, right? I mean, a brisket is like the quintessential thing to make on a smoker, right? It's a delicious cut of meat. It takes a little bit of perfecting over time. The first one probably isn't always the best one, but the more you do it, the better you get at it, the better it's gonna be. So that's what we're doing today. It's gonna definitely be the longest cook of anything that I've done. We're actually gonna start it today and finish it tomorrow, let it go all night on the smoker. So enough talking, I wanna show you this brisket, so let's get started. All right, when I said we were doing a brisket, I meant we are doing a brisket. Look at this thing, 16.5 pounds, USDA choice Angus beef brisket. This is an entire brisket. You'll hear this referred to as a double brisket or a full packer brisket. Basically what that means is that it contains both sort of parts of a brisket. It contains the flat, which is this kind of flatter part, and that's what you'll sort of slice into slices. And then you got the point, which is this larger section that's going to be quite a bit fattier. You can chop that up, cube it up, turn it into some burnt ends, whatever you want to do with it. Now we can see that this is the top side of the meat, and we know that because on the back of every brisket is a big fat cap. That is all fat right there. So we got to do some trimming on this because we don't want to just stick it in there like that. We'll talk along the way about why that is, but for now let's go ahead and get it out of the packaging. All right, here is our brisket. And man, this thing is giant. So a few things that we need to do to trim this. The first thing is we're gonna start with this side, the meat side, and we're gonna trim off quite a bit of fat from this side because a lot of this fat isn't gonna render out, especially on really any full packer brisket. You're gonna have these hard chunks of fat. We're gonna take that right out. Also, from preserving in the fluids, a lot of times a brisket can become a little bit gray around the edges, and that's perfectly normal. So I'm gonna sort of square some of that off, but that's what we're gonna do to this side. I can also see that there's some silver skin on here too. We're gonna get that off of there, and I'm gonna speed up, do a little time lapse here so you can kind of see what's happening. But what you're about to see is I'm gonna take the vast majority of this off, a lot of this here, and that silver skin, and just some of this fat here, and probably square up the edges just a little bit. All right, now I've pretty much got my meat side done. You can see I took quite a bit of fat off of here. So let's flip it over and do the other side. Now the other side is the fat cap, and I want to preserve a lot of this, about 1/4 of an inch or so all the way around where it is. And the reason that is because it's gonna serve as that barrier to the heat. And I'm gonna put this fat cap down today. There's tons of arguments for doing it up, whatever, do what you want. I'm just gonna do it down because I know that the heat from my Pit Boss Platinum Lockhart comes directly from the bottom. And so that's just gonna serve to protect the integrity of the meat because it's gonna be in there for a very long time. But I do still wanna trim up the fat, just again to make sure that it's not too thick. All right, so I had a little bit of a camera issue there, but let me tell you what I did. So after I trimmed up that fat cap a little bit, not a lot really, I went ahead and seasoned the fat side using Kinder's The Blend seasoning. It's my favorite, just simple seasoning. It's salt, pepper, garlic. I mean, what else could you want, right? And then I flipped it over to the side that you're looking at now, which is our meat side. And I did the same thing using the blend, but then I also added some extra pepper. It's really hard to overdo it on pepper when it's a brisket. If you're ever in Texas, like a brisket is basically just covered in pepper. It's delicious. So that's basically all that I've done here. I trimmed it up, I seasoned it, and now I'm gonna let it sit here and rest for about 15 minutes or so. While that's happening, it's a perfect time to go and fire up my Pit Boss, and then I'll see you at the smoker. You need to visit Strip District Meats. They are the official meat provider of the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel, so the stuff that you've been seeing me cook here comes directly from Strip District Meats. They have such a wide selection of just about anything that you can think of. If you can imagine a cut of meat, they've probably got it. They're a local family-owned business in the heart of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and their cases are fully stocked and ready to go. If you're not local to the Pittsburgh area, go to stripdistrictmeats.com and you can order online. They ship nationwide. And thank you to Strip District Meats for being the official meat provider of the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. Okay, so my Pit Boss Platinum Lockhart is coming up to temperature, and that temperature is going to be 225 degrees Fahrenheit for this entire cook. Now, this is a giant piece of meat, so this is going to take a really, really long time to cook. Now, typically with a brisket, you want to estimate about an hour and a half per pound. Now, this was a 16-pound brisket, so you would think maybe like 20 hours or so, but we did cut a lot. I probably cut 1.5 pounds of fat off of that. So I'm gonna put this on in just a few minutes, and then I'm not gonna touch it, I'm not gonna open it, I'm not gonna do anything to it for about 8 hours. Now, if you're doing the math and you're looking around me, 8 hours is gonna be the middle of the night. So I'm gonna set an alarm, and I'm gonna come back outside, check on it after 8 hours. At that point, the meat will have probably reached what we call the stall, which is about 160 degrees, and that's the point where the fat is melting to the point where it's cooling down the meat and not allowing it to heat up. So at that point, we're gonna wrap it in some butcher paper, I'll show you all that, and cook it for about another probably 8 hours or so. I know that you might think, oh gosh, you're gonna go to sleep while your smoker's on. It's perfectly fine to do that. A lot of people do it, especially on these long cooks. I don't wanna stay awake for 20 hours. But two very important things that you need to do if you're gonna do something like this. Very, very important. The first is make sure you have enough pellets in your hopper. The hopper on my Lockhart holds 40 pounds of pellets, and it is completely full. The second thing you wanna do is make sure that you clean out the ash from inside your smoker prior to this long cook. Make sure you follow those precautions so you don't have any kind of flare-ups and you don't do any sort of damage to your smoker. And speaking of pellets, today I'm using the Pit Boss Competition Blend pellets, my favorite all-around pellet for just about anything that you can make on the smoker. Fish, beef, pork, even desserts. It's just delicious. All right, so we're at 181. As soon as that hits 225, we're gonna put this giant brisket on the smoker. All right, we are at 225, and it's time to put this brisket in its bed. This is where it's gonna sleep all night long tonight. It is currently right at about 6 o'clock. So if I'm doing the math right, I'm gonna come back out here and check on it at 2 a.m. So 8 hours, not gonna touch it, not gonna look at it, just gonna let it do its thing until 2 a.m. Then we'll come out, I'll take a look at it and see what the status of it is. And then if we've hit the stall period, we'll go ahead and wrap it. If we haven't, we'll leave it on for another couple hours until we do. All right, here we go. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I'm gonna use 2 different meat probes. These both came with the Lockhart so that I can monitor that temperature. So one's gonna go in the flat here, just like that. And then one's gonna go in the point here. All right, there you have it. And just in case you're wondering, we're going for a final temperature of 202, 203 degrees on this after it's wrapped and everything. So for now, good night, little buddy. Or should I say big buddy. See you in the middle of the night. All right, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's take a look at this brisket. Oh, wow. Look at the color. Man. Oh, it looks so good. Looks so good. Right now is probably a great time to pull it because my internal temp is looking at like 162. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull it off, and we're gonna wrap it in some butcher paper and get it back on. All right, so because it's dark outside and it's actually a little bit misty outside, I decided that I'm gonna do this inside so that you can really see. So here I have a roll of pink butcher paper. And you can find this on Amazon, really. I think that's where I got it. But you can find it a bunch of different places. But we're gonna wrap our brisket in this butcher paper. Now, a lot of people will say that you can wrap it in foil. That's totally fine too if you want. The reason that I don't like to wrap a brisket in foil is because foil tends to create this sort of steam effect that could potentially damage that bark that we've been working on. But wrapping it in butcher paper preserves the integrity of that bark, but still allows it to continue to heat through. So I'm first gonna roll this out, just kind of like this. And now, let's go grab the brisket. All right, here it is. First look. Wow. Man, I'm trying to be a little bit quiet so I don't wake anybody up, but man, it is really hard to contain myself because of a couple things. First off, how gorgeous this bark is that has started to develop, and second, because of how good this smells. Oh my gosh. All right, so we're gonna wrap this two ways, once horizontally, once vertically. We wanna wrap it kind of tight, actually. So just pull over like this. And it's time to put this back on the smoker now. I'm not going to video anymore outside because just how dark it is. So for right now, it's back on the Lockhart. All right, good morning everybody. It's been 16 hours for this brisket right now. It's currently 10 o'clock a.m. and my temperatures are reading exactly where I want them to be. Let's have a look. There we go. Now I know that temperature-wise it's done. We've already determined that. But I want to actually feel for the texture. So I'm going to use my my other meat thermometer, and I'm going to just put this in there, and what I'm looking for is for it to just sort of slide in and out like butter. So let's see what we got here. I don't even have it turned on because I don't need it on. Just want to feel that texture. Oh man. I mean, literally like butter. All right, after 16 hours, it's time to go ahead, turn off the smoker, and we're going to let this rest. So I'll show you that in a sec. All right, I've got my brisket here. I've got a cooler, and I'm just gonna put this right into my cooler. Just like that, close it up. And I'm gonna let it rest for 2 hours in the cooler. So when all is said and done, this will have been an 18-hour cook. And the next time we see each other, I'm gonna take this out, we're gonna unwrap it, slice it up, and I hope you're sitting down at that time, because if not, the beauty of this brisket might just make you fall over. I'll see you in a couple hours. All right, it has been 2 hours, and before I get this brisket out and slice it up, I gotta give one more huge, massive shout out, thank you to Strip District Meats, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for this incredible brisket. I've said it before, I'll say it again, the absolute best butcher shop anywhere, and they've got one of the largest selection of exotic meats and just things that you really can't find most places, especially in your grocery store. Just go to their website, stripdistrictmeats.com, check out the phenomenal lineup of stuff that they got, and maybe get something for yourself with, you know, like the Easter holiday coming up. Maybe you want to cook something for that. Strip District Meats is where it's at. All right, it is time for this brisket. Are you as excited as I am? I mean, it's been sitting in the cooler and the whole house has smelled like this delicious brisket. Oh gosh, can't wait. All right, let's get this opened up. Oh, woo! Look at the juice. Just look at the juice already. All right, you ready to see what a nice brisket looks like, ladies and gentlemen? Oh man, look at that. Oh my gosh. Woo! Look at that. Look at the color of that bark. Oh man, it's perfect. All right, let's get this butcher paper out of the way so we can really see what we got here. All right, man, look at that. Oh, just look at it. It is a thing to behold. So we got our flat over here. We got our point over here. And I mean, it just looks gorgeous. I mean, do we need to just sit here and look at it for a little while? Because we can do that. All right, so let's cut into this now and see how we did. So I'm gonna be cutting against the grain. So that's gonna result, so the grain's sort of running like this. So I'm gonna cut like this. So we're gonna start right here on the end. Oh man, wow. I want you to pay attention to something here. Look at that smoke ring. Look at the color of the smoke ring. Oh man, that looks incredible. That piece is for me. I'm gonna cut one more slice of this here, so you can just see another smoke ring. Oh gosh, that looks so good. You can kind of see the juice in there too. Oh man. All right. Now, let's cut into the middle here. So I'm actually gonna cut this like right about here, just right down the middle. Oh my gosh, it's like falling apart because of the juiciness. All right, and here's the shot that everybody loves. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look at the juice. Oh man. That is a thing of beauty. It's apparently caused an emergency in my neighborhood because of how good it looks. All right, have you ever played the game Never Have I Ever? Well, let me tell you, never have I ever been as excited to try something as I am right now. I cannot wait to try this brisket. Is it worth the 18-hour wait? Let's find out. Here we go. Oh. 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 Oh, holy smokes. Oh, holy smokes. Mm. Oh my gosh. That is so good. Really smoky, which is exactly what we wanted. Now I just tried a piece of the flat. Oh, so good. Let's go for a little piece of this point here. Mmm. Oh. Oh. Melts in your mouth. Man, that's so good. Man, you could do so much with this. You could put it on a sandwich. You could just eat it like this. Maybe throw some barbecue sauce over it. I got a couple plans for some stuff that we're going to do with brisket in the near future, so stay tuned for that. But now it's time for me to take this inside and start eating because I'm dying to eat more of this. Well, thank you once again for tuning into the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. Hey, we finally did a brisket, right? It's amazing. If you like this video, make sure that you click that thumbs up to give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And go ahead and turn on the post notifications. Just click that little bell so that you can be one of the first people to know anytime we post any new content here. And definitely check out one of these other 2 videos of some stuff that we've cooked up here recently outside on the smoker. And I will see you next time.